Hey, good morning, Internet fans. It's Ryan Perry with A Simple Biz Support, and today is Wednesday, so it must be Social Media Wednesday. And as always, I have Sarah Giametti with ICT Marketing. Good morning, Sarah.
Good morning, Ryan. How are you?
I'm doing good. I just want to let you know that I'm not cold. Unfortunately, my primary microphone died, so I'm having to use this mic, which requires me to wear headphones that plug into it. So, um, it's still warm in California. I'm not wearing earmuffs.
Although it's not very warm here today.
No, it's a little overcast, but I'm sure it's warming up. So anyhow, I hope everybody can hear me okay today because I am using a different microphone. I made a last minute switch. And today, as we talked about last week, we are going to talk about how to game plan your social media. And Sarah, I think it would be fair to say that most people, especially most business owners, really don't game plan marketing in general, and social media is a form of marketing. Therefore, we just kind of randomly post things that we think are funny or cute or relevant, or worst case, you get a business owner that just sells. Oh, I've got this greatest new product. Oh, we've got something on sale. And that typically isn't what people go to social media for.
That's totally true, Ryan. Unfortunately, most businesses that we come across, they hopped on the social media bandwagon the last few years with no strategy. They strategize everything else in marketing. With social media, for some reason, that strategy just hasn't carried over. And so they post when they feel like it or when they remember, when they might have 5 minutes at 10:30 at night before they go to bed. And there's no plan behind it. And yeah, the worst case scenario is somebody that every single post they post is selling themselves, and that's not what social media is all about. And so part of what we do for businesses is we help them take care of it, and we strategize around it for them so that there is a strategy and a plan behind it so that it does eventually work for them.
All right. And the other thing I've noticed is sometimes I'll get posts from companies, and it seems like the message is different all the time. There's never really a consistency. And I think that comes in when a company's large enough and maybe they have multiple people accessing an account, and therefore, one person's personality might be more cheerful and happy, somebody else might be a little bit more sarcastic, and so there's never any brand consistency with the way what I would call the persona or the avatar for the company.
Right, and a way to combat that is if you are going to have multiple people using your Facebook page, I see it on a lot of like the news sites where they put a tagline in the post of who posted it. So then you start to know the different people. If you've got 2 or 3 people posting to your social media page, you know who did it, so you get to identify with their personality, and then it negates that your tone is all over the place because you now know for sure 2 or 3 different people are making the posts. If you don't want to have that piece of information, then you really should have one person overseeing it all so that the tone of your company matches and it's the same kind of flavor all the way through every time that you post.
All right, and I think one of the easiest ways to control that tone, the quality of the post, if you will, and what the message is that's going out is to actually manage and in the marketing world, we have what we call a marketing calendar, and basically that is a calendar that typically it's an Excel spreadsheet that you simply go and week by week, day by day, month by month, and say, okay, these are the things that we're going to talk about, and you actually pre-plan them. And if you're in a large enough company, you get a couple of people together who are responsible for marketing and understand who the ideal client is that's on Facebook, who's the ideal that's on Twitter, so that your message resonates with those people, and then plan that out. Is that kind of the recommendation that you would provide also?
Yeah, absolutely. Planning is key to everything. Everything in marketing, everything in life. You do need to plan your social media out. And the further out you plan, the better off you are. And you don't necessarily need to find all the content for the post you're going to do 6 months out, but at least plan out the theme. What are you doing that month? What is the purpose? You know your target audience. You may know if you're a retail store, you may know during November and December you're doing a lot of Christmas stuff. And so you can at least plan out the theory behind it 6, 8, 10, 12 months in advance And then, but at a minimum for us, we'd say 1 month in advance. The last month of June, you should have planned for all of July. You should have planned your theme, who your target audience is, what the content you're going to do, source the content, save it all in your content calendar, and pre-schedule as much of it as you can, so you're not having to sit there every single day. That's where businesses get overwhelmed. Every day they sit at their desk at 8 o'clock, 9 o'clock in the morning going, oh my God, what am I going to post on Facebook today, or Twitter, whatever platform they're using regularly. And then they can't think of anything, the phone starts ringing, and they get sidetracked, and it never happens.
All
if
right.
you spend a couple of hours once a month, plan it out, it makes it a lot easier. And it also makes it easy for the business owner, if they're a smaller company, they can hand it off to their admin assistant and say, here, implement this, because I've already found all the content for you.
All right. Okay, great. And there's two things that come to mind for me while you were talking. One is the fact that, yes, plan it out, but I like how you're saying it doesn't need to be in concrete. At least that's what I'm hearing. And I think that's really important, because a lot of times when people pre-plan, and to me, social is dynamic. It's fluid. It changes on a regular basis. And if you plan out 3 months ahead and you go, okay, I know exactly what I'm going to say, I know that this is where we're going to say it, and this is how we're going to say it, and this is the exact day we're going to say it, you could be kind of getting the blinders on where you're not seeing what else is going on, because topical conversation, something that just happened in the news, something, especially if it's a local event, you're a local business owner, you want to have some flexibility to add additional content for those topical times that topical conversations come up in the news, if I can get my words straight, and have some flexibility that, yes, we know pretty much what we're going to say, but we have wiggle room to be fluid about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So when we recommend people planning it out, it doesn't negate the real life stuff. The planning it out makes sure it helps you be sure that you're consistent. You're consistently posting on a regular basis to your audience, but you still have to react or interact real time. And then things like one of our clients, they're a bar. World Cup is the big news right now. They're playing all of the games, and although we pre-planned announcing what they were doing at the bar during the games, that they were going to be open early, whatnot, we still were posting live on those days as the games were going on. So just because I pre-planned out the post for announcing the games doesn't mean I don't have to go back, or I shouldn't go back. You definitely want to have that fluidity and some real-time posts on there. That yesterday, when unfortunately Brazil was getting slaughtered, we were posting in the middle of that, and prompting people, well, come drown your sorrows at the bar if you had Brazil in your bracket. So you definitely want to have that fluidity and the real time especially for a local business. But the pre-planning ensures that if for some reason you can't get on real time, you have still consistently posted to your audience.
Right. Okay. And the second thing that I brought up, and I'm going to put it on hold for a quick second, is the ability that, especially as a small business owner, you talked about, it's 8 o'clock, here it is, 8 o'clock on Wednesday, and I got to post something today. What is it going to be? The ability to actually post things for Thursday, for Friday, for next Monday, there are ways to do that. But before we get into that conversation, we keep on talking about planning and organizing and how to do it, but let's talk about a physical tool. Let's give people something they can actually use, they can put their hands on. And I know there's a couple of Excel spreadsheets that we've looked at, and I know you have your own proprietary spreadsheet that we won't get into, but there's a couple that we found online that we'll share in the comments below for people. So if you can bring that up on your screen share.
Yep, here's one of them. Let's bring it over here. And so this is one that we found online that it separates it by month, and you can see here that it has, the weekly theme. You can type in here every day of the week, your social conversation, what your theme is, if you're going to do a blog post, the blog post title, who your audience is. So it gives you fill all this information out, and so it's planned out for you. Or you have planned it out in advance.
Right, and
Um,
I also see there's an author on there, so you could make people accountable and say, okay, for this week of this month, you're going to write something, or you're responsible for posting something about X, Y, and Z.
right, absolutely. And over here, the purchase cycle, like, what are you trying to just tell people about something? Do you want them to buy? Are you going for their loyalty? What's the purpose behind your social media posts? And so this particular spreadsheet that we found separates things out by week, by month in different tabs. And so over here is February and March. A different one that we have found online, and there's a million options online. This one plans your whole year out in one spreadsheet where you can see it all in a straight row. And then the second tab has the content depository.
Did you switch? Because I'm not seeing it on the screen. I'm still seeing
Oh,
the original.
let me switch. Let's see. Take it off. Let's go back, and let's now try this one. So here's the different one that shows the whole year in advance what the world events might be going that you might want to talk around, different topics. And then the second tab is your content repository. So this particular one has a lot less content per post than the other one. The real key to these are find one that works for you, or find one that's close enough and modify it to work for you. Because the real key here is it needs to work for you and for your business. Because if it doesn't work for you, you're not going to use it.
Right.
And so you can just do a Google search for content calendar and look at a bunch and see which one you think will fit your business and your brand and your now I can't think.
I think it's the just your personality. People work differently, different things connect with them. And what I really like about the content calendars when it spreads it out, especially that annual one, is if you were to fill it out, and it looks like that annual one's a little bit more vague. The idea is to just kind of get an overview of what you're going to talk about. But by doing that, you can then see any maybe overlapping of content. Oh, geez, maybe there's 3 parts to our business we need to talk about, and we seem to be talking a lot about one part. And by having that overall view, you can kind of get a better understanding of what type of content's going out and adjusting it accordingly if need be.
Right, and you can do something like combine the two. So you have one tab is the annual, so you can see that your content is well-rounded and you're not talking all about one part of your business when there's 2 others that you're accidentally ignoring. Right. And that you can see that you've got a well-rounded strategy, and then you use the tabs for the actual monthly content breakdown so that you know exactly what you're going to do every single day of every single month. So do a combination of those. So you don't have to start from scratch, create your own. There's plenty of free options online, but you can take them and then modify them to fit your own, fit your personality, fit the way that you work. We all work differently. Some of us are more visual, some are auditory. So make it work for you, the way that you work, the way you learn, so that you're actually effective with your social media planning.
All right. And I saw a cat just walked in. Does he want to join the conversation? Who is that?
I'm going to go lay on her blanket over here in the corner.
Oh, okay. She's not one of those cats that jumps up and has to be on the keyboard?
No, I've trained her to stay off the desk.
Okay. See, my sister's cats are totally the opposite. As soon as she brings out the laptop, they're like right on top of it. And I wonder if it's just the heat from the computer, or is it, that's where her hands are, so she'll pet me if I lay where the hands are.
Pretty much, yeah. Squirt bottles work really well to keep them off of it.
Well, perfect. We're actually out of time, but we always want to leave everybody a tip and a challenge. And that tip and challenge has got to be pull one of these. We're going to post a couple of links up here. Check them out. Do your own Google search for a marketing calendar or a content calendar, and find something that works for you, and just give it a try for a quarter. Do it for 3 months, pre-plan it, set aside an hour, get at least one other person together so you can bounce some ideas off of them and go, what are the things that people need to know about our business or want to know about our business? If you're a local business, I think the big thing that people always overlook is what's going on locally. Doesn't matter if you're an attorney, auto body, if you're a dentist, an optometrist. If the fair's going on, talk about the fair. If there's a Wednesday night market going on or a street fair going on, I mean, there's in Sonoma County, there's so many different things going on. Talk about those things because that's interesting to people. If you're a dentist, how to clean your teeth, what teeth whitening products are out there, what the latest headgear is for denture, or not for dentures, but for braces, may not really be that exciting to your audience as you think it is because you're in the industry. So that is your challenge this week. Sarah, as always, I appreciate your time, and I hope you have a wonderful day.
Thank you, Ryan. I hope you do too.
All right, take care. Bye.
Bye.